Yes, we have theme music.
Sort of.
Now, is it sounding awful coming through?
Yep.
It's not great.
Absolutely terrible.
Perfect.
Getting about half of it.
Yeah,
maybe.
it keeps
Then-
cutting in and out. Yeah.
Then fuck that. Let's worry about that for next week.
It's a next week problem. Yeah,
Welcome back, everybody, to our wonderful show, which has gained a name in between last recording and this one. We are now the Gaia Squadron. And despite the fact that not all of the PCs are members of the Gaia Squadron, that's still the name of the group, so you can deal with it. Now, when last we met, we did character creation, and we also did a whole bunch of... get out of here, cats. Knock it off. We also did a whole bunch of stuff with, all character creation, and we started the beginning of the first adventure. Before we jump right back into things, though, I'm going to take a quick moment to say that we have updated our palette. Now we are also including as a line violence against animals. I had never intended for things like that to happen, but I'm glad somebody made it explicit, and thank you for that. We also have a new cast member. This is Lance. Wave to the camera, Lance.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Lance, get out of... I'm sorry, I'm just having a cat day. Lance is a member of the recording crew for the Weirdwood Preparatory Academy, where he plays Dawn. And Lance will be introduced later on today. We're going to get some other stuff taken care of first, and then when the story is appropriate, it'll be appropriate. Now,
Also in news,
we're going to start out with
My
one
camera's
thing
working
that...
this week.
I'm sorry, did you... No, yes. So, for this week, we're going to open up with, I messed up on helping folks with character creation. One of the aspects of character creation, and the last bit that I just slipped my mind, is we give strings to each other. Now, all of our players here are familiar with how strings work to some extent, as they were a major part of the Monster Hearts game. So, to explain it to the viewers, strings are basically mechanical representations of your relationships with other people. Strings don't necessarily mean you have something over somebody, but it means that there is some level of connection there, and that there is some kind of influence. So somebody having a string on you could mean, yes, they have a little bit of blackmail on you, but it could also mean that you feel emotionally indebted to them, or you think they're cool and want to earn their approval, or any other number of things like that. At the start of the game, each character gives between 0 and 3 strings to each other character. So, we are going to handle Lance's strings with his character's introduction, but for now, we are going to talk to the other players. Starting at the top left of my screen, Dane. So, Dane, pick each other player and give them from 0 to 3 strings, and explain why you're thinking that's the appropriate number.
Okay. Is there a limited number of strings I can give people, or
Nope.
do I just give them?
You just-
Okay.
Whatever you feel is appropriate.
Okay. I am going to give Kayla 3 strings. My reason being, we had talked last week a little bit about histories and inter-party connectivity, and Kayla has been hurt the most by my existence, my actions, my past. Kayla has also saved me at one point in time to not my regret, but my own folly and short-sightedness. And I also hope to eventually make Kayla feel differently about me, so I feel that I will be giving the most strings to Kayla, because Kayla's opinion most certainly matters to Dane.
That sounds great. How about Verdant?
Verdant, I'm going to say, has... I'm going to say 2 strings. One, because I know Verdant is close with Kayla, and Dane might see that as a way to befriend Kayla by befriending Verdant first. Also, Verdant has asked questions about Dane's past as well to try and gain more knowledge, which ultimately forces Dane, myself, I shouldn't be saying Dane, myself to face the past actions that I have done while being part of the, oh my god, why can't I remember the mega corporation that I was part of? Thank you so much, the Sputnik Corporation. And the last one, okay,
The last one is Dietrich.
Yes. Ooh. For drama, and I think it also makes the most sense given the recent turn of events, Dietrich would also have 3 strings on Dane as well. Dietrich most certainly has dirt on me, most certainly knows my past, whether it's through a personal file or just the general overarching, you were a grunt, I know how the system works. And probably will offer some sort of, hey, if you betray these people, you can totally come back in and we'll give you things. Which is most certainly how archvillains work, so.
Sounds great. Now, without giving away too much, I think that Say probably has 1 or 2 strings on you too.
Yeah, props.
So, how do you feel about that? What do you want to give her?
I'm a glutton for punishment. Let's just go with 2.
Okay. Sounds great. Moving on. Next on my list is Kayla. So, Kayla, how many strings does each person have on you?
Okay. Well, easiest for me, I think. We'll start with Verdant. I think they would have 3 on me, given that in last session we established she looks out for me and whatnot. So I think I would look up to her in some way and really want to impress her and maintain that relationship. And then as far as Dane goes, I would give them 2 strings. I think we do have a history. He has wronged me in the past, so there is some level of emotional involvement, even if it's not necessarily healthy currently. I don't know that Dietrich would know me at all right now. So I'm going to give them 0 strings as far as that goes.
It's entirely fair. With that involvement, I believe Sadie should probably have 1 on you.
Mm-hmm.
For reasons that will become evident later.
Okay.
Next on my list is Verdant.
Hi. So, Dane, I think, has one string on Verdant. Because while there's a connection between Dane and Verdant through Kayla, I don't necessarily see that in the reverse yet. And Dane very much still needs to prove themselves to me to be on my radar as more than an acquaintance or coworker. Kayla, on the other hand, for similar reasons to what she said, I think we'll have 3 strings on me. Just kind of a reciprocal friends type of arrangement. You know, mutual aid and benefit and whatnot. And just like I've listened to her talk about things from her past, then she's also listened to me about the same. And Dietrich has 2 strings on me. Just of the 3 background pieces we put together, 2 of them involve him. So I'm thinking he's the kind of guy who knows a lot of things about a lot of people, and I'm definitely not the subtle type, as we established last time.
Sounds great. That brings us for you also, Sadie. I think 1 would be a good idea. Out of here, Cat. So, Dietrich.
Yes.
How are your strings looking?
I believe that Dane Hopkins would have 2 strings by virtue of being formerly in the case of the similar place of employment and all things that brings together, for better or worse, and also because at one point I had been smitten with them, as I had mentioned. And what I think is also interesting is Verdant, I would also give 2 strings.
That is interesting.
But I don't think I quite know that, which is why I which is why I think it should be that way, since Verdant is spooky. And therefore should just have the strings on me.
And what about Kayla?
I think that Kayla should have 1 string on me.
And why is that?
Because as Kayla is a good person, to say the very least, and would probably be very wise as to what's going on with Dietrich, and would probably have an easier time manipulating him than someone would.
Fair enough. How about Sadie?
I think Sadie would get 1.
You got it. And with that, we're cutting back into the action. There's a great explosion as the 20-foot tall robot crashes to the ground in your superhero pose, along with half a dozen drop ships. Well, more like drop pods, each containing 10 soldiers, land and start filling out. You've got this smashed up drilling machinery and deforestation devices. But it looks like they had a full military response waiting for you. Dietrich, would you like to start us off?
Standing from my 3-point landing, there is a sound of pressurized air as down one shoulder, a long dark gray drape falls to the side and immediately blows in the wind with a symbol of the Sputnik Corporation fully emblazoned on it.
So I just want to make sure we're clear on this. You have a device to make sure it blows in the wind even if there's no wind?
That's correct.
That is amazing.
It's company procedure. Surround them immediately. They shall not be permitted to escape.
Yes, boss. And the faceless goons begin to encircle them. Do you have any villainous monologuing to do?
Oh, you do so appear in these tumultuous times for our company. Here we are trying to make the moon a better place, and you come here and destroy company property. Such savages you are here on Earth. What foul defense would you have for yourselves, attacking us so?
This is when the heroes get to say things.
I am going to use a move called Who's the Monster? When you expose the hypocrisy of someone who is supposedly virtuous, roll plus daring. So, I'm going to say a brief little thing. You say that we are savages, and yet you are here destroying this forest to save a barren rock? Who's the true monster, Dietrich? And that's an 8 on the dice, and my daring is 2, so that's a 10.
Ooh, and what does a 10 get you?
A 10 plus. Gain a string on them and choose one. The wrongness of their act is exposed to all. They mark XP if they change their mind. If they don't, they must attack you or take a condition. Your words sting. They take a condition. You impress an onlooker. Gain a string on them.
So what are you thinking?
I am going to choose the first one. The wrongness of their act is exposed to all.
Well, I do what again?
I think it is very apparent to everybody watching that. Sorry about the screen shaking there. I think it's very apparent to everyone watching that Sputnik is not the good guys here. Even the foot soldiers are kind of stopping and thinking a little bit. So, you can now either admit what you're doing is wrong or take a condition
Well,
and
they must
start
attack.
swinging.
That's the one.
It's take a condition and start swinging, right?
Yes.
The moon is incapable of growing such petty little branches and leaves. You could have put more seeds in the ground to replace them. But instead you choose to attack me with your words, traitor. Seize them! And I charge in.
It sounds like you're going to be attacking.
And I am also sounding pretty angry.
Angry fits.
Oh, that's going to be something to get used to. We don't give conditions. They're just conditions that are already on there. Okay.
Yes, much
Yeah,
different than
that's-
Monster Hearts.
Much different.
Okay, so how would you like to attack?
While angry in this moment, I was ready for such provocation. And most of my combating is going to be a lot of feints and a lot of forcing my opponent to make a mistake.
Okay, so before we go too deep into things, we need to talk real quick about fancy PvP moves. So, normally, there's a basic move called Fight. And with Fight, you seek to incapacitate somebody and you roll with either Daring or Grace. When you're working with we are working with PvP. We have made the choice to use the more advanced fighting moves provided as options in the rulebook. Now, those advanced combat actions are Lunge, Riposte, Scrap, and Feint. And this creates a little bit deeper gameplay that, while not generally appropriate for NPCs, it's something I want to explore with player versus player combat when it comes up, just to make things a little bit more interesting and less straightforward. Each of you should have the expanded fight moves in the handouts that I provided you with. Rich, do you have those handy?
I'll be right back to you.
Okay.
I have them in the meantime.
So, what we're going to do, since it is a bit of a game of rock, paper, scissors, I'm going to have each of you message me in secret the move you're going to perform. And then we will
Ruh-roh.
different moves are more effective against different moves. So you're each going to tell me what you're planning, and then we will include those bonuses and penalties as we describe our attacks.
Okay.
You got them, Rich?
Cannot find them because I have my sheets in front of me. I just can't find the advanced.
Okay. Then give me 1 second. I'm just going to send you a picture quickly so
Okay.
that we can keep this moving.
Just want to bring up something I had forgotten, and we can totally handle it later to keep things moving. I had picked the player move Talons of the Past, which means that at some point, Diedrich and I need to figure out a secret that each of us knows about each other. When you get a string on someone associated with your world is past. So,
what we can do here, let's not worry about that right for this second.
right, I just didn't want to forget about it, is all.
Okay, I am sending you those photos right now.
Yay!
I'm trying to. I gotta send them separately because... Okay, so each of you very quickly send me a message with what fight move you would like to perform, and then we're going to have things occur in real time. So we know what Diedrich's doing. What are you doing, Dane? Very good. So, Diedrich, please explain your attack.
Foregoing my various armaments, I'm using the thrusters on the legs of my armored suit to dive head first to try and connect with my saw blade until, at the very last moment, I juke back and then to the side and connect with a second attack, as the first was merely a feint.
Okay.
Now, Dan, please describe your attack.
I'm also following the train of how things cancel each other out. Sorry.
Don't worry too much about that for now.
Got it.
Worry more about what your attack looks like and the feelings behind it and your intentions.
Okay. I am determined in overcoming my villainous past and having clearly struck a moral victory in front of all of these workers. I am not going to look weak. So I start with a strong attack with my greatsword in hand and lunge after Diedrich, slashing from shoulder down to opposite hip, hoping to make contact.
Now, Diedrich, please roll to feint. And Dane, please roll to lunge.
Okay. Boxcars.
Oof.
And I have a total of 8.
So, with a 8, you get to inflict a condition, you mark a condition, and you choose one maneuver.
as we are trading blows, I say through my speakerphones, "Attacking head first again? Why, just when I thought you could go soft on the job." An attempt to use cutting words to inflict a condition.
So, Dane, what sort of condition do you think you would feel from these insults?
Angry.
So you're getting frustrated and mad, and this saw blade is scoring small hits on you here and there. This attack doesn't inflict a condition on its own. What condition do you think that would be?
Would this be a condition on my opponent or myself?
With feint, you inflict a condition and choose one maneuver. I'm sorry, you inflict a condition, mark a condition, and choose one maneuver.
Correct.
So you're each going to gain an additional condition from this attack.
I thought so.
Okay.
I am feeling rather insecure based on the accusations being thrown at me and the lack of support in my underlings.
I am
Well, they are hired goons.
I am also feeling frightened because this is my first time confronting a higher up publicly and like standing against. So if I fall, I might lose my own self-worth while also adding some bad PR to like our own like message that we're trying to send out there.
Yeah, this is only your second mission with the Gaia Squad. You don't want them falling on their faces just yet. Okay. Now, with your lunge, you inflict a condition, mark a condition, and choose two maneuvers. And feel free, Dietrich, to suggest ways this might be affecting you. Different things, different conditions this might impress upon you.
As we connect, I speak directly at the helmet. I am but one. And if I rise up, who else will rise up to fight you? And I'm trying to instill the frightened condition when I do this.
Well, with the size of your blade and the way it is slicing into that giant suit of armor like it were cardboard, I feel like frightened might be appropriate.
And you say I take a condition too?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
PvP combat is not to be undertaken lightly.
No, it is not.
And Dietrich, what do you think about that condition there? Does frightened work?
That sword looks a lot smaller from the monitor back on the satellite.
Oh, it certainly did. While you're thinking, oh, you got
I'm
something?
gonna say insecure, by the way.
Insecure?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, here comes the fun part. If you lunge and your opponent did not riposte, you may either make them stagger or choose one more maneuver.
Ooh. Oh, I pulled that up in a separate window. I'm going to make Dietrich stagger.
Sounds good. Dietrich, do you have the stagger move?
I do not understand the question.
Okay, so there's a move called stagger. When you suffer a staggering physical or emotional blow, choose an option from the following. How many conditions do you currently have marked?
I'm starting to understand. I currently have 3 marked.
So, you have the following choice. You lash out at someone whose regard matters at you, provoke them to do something foolish, or harmful and take advantage of a string on them if you have one. You hesitate or stumble and the opposition gains an opportunity. Or you grin and bear the blow, mark 2 conditions. Essentially, the fact that this person who you held in such high regard came in and attacked you, whether it was a physical blow or an emotional blow, and that's entirely up to you, or the two of you together to come to a solution on this. But it was much worse than it could have been.
All of this anger and all of this fire towards your enemy? That you could finally pull the trigger after so long? Why don't you do it then? Why don't you do it here and now, what you couldn't all that time ago? Or are you still a coward and a traitor?
This sounds like you're lashing out.
It is.
So, spend a string on them. And tell me what you're trying to get them to do.
I am trying to actually get Dane to cut deeper into my armor. Dane might not be aware that the sword is about to hit a mysterious-looking canister. Or that at least my suit is well and truly fireproof.
While you think about whether you're going to continue on that, let's jump to Kayla and Verdant. As these two clash and sparks and blades begin to fly, dozens upon dozens of laser rifle shots are unloaded in volleys upon the two of you. You are outnumbered 50-1.
Well, well, Kayla's definitely better in a fight than I am, so I'm going to take these big saw blades that I just found out here randomly and use them to deflect shots and protect her. And hope that she can finish these guys off, because I'm just the comedy relief.
Okay, then. That sounds like you're going to be defying disaster. So, blocking with these giant saw blades, I think that could either be swiftness and elegance or cleverness. So you could roll with either grace or wit, I think.
I'm going to roll with wit. And additionally, as I do it, the black tendrils that I've sprouted sort of get a purple tinge as the as energy flows from the center of me, and and really sort of makes it very, very obvious that this isn't some sort of technological feat, but a feat of probably not good magic, or at least not like white magic.
So, before you roll,
I'm using my Eerie Companion move.
okay.
Which
Before you roll, this is important. You need to say what you're willing to sacrifice in order to protect her. It doesn't need to be super complicated. It could simply be your own well-being. You could be willing to take hits in her place. It could be more complicated than that.
I'm willing to sacrifice my ability to run away by putting myself more firmly into the center of this fight.
Sounds good. Make your roll. And now you can explain to us about your spooky pet.
My Eerie Companion move, whenever my companion helps me with one of two specific moves, which are Defy Danger or Figure Out a Person, I get a +1 bonus to the roll, but its aid is very obvious and alarming to ordinary people. So that's 5 on the dice, +2 from Wits, +1 from Eerie Companion, is a total of 8.
With an 8, you are able to keep the lasers from getting to Kayla. But indeed, you have been driven backwards more strongly to the center of the circle, and the constant laser fire has made it very unlikely you'll be able to try to escape without taking a hit yourself. But Kayla, you are free to act as you wish.
Okie dokie.
Okay,
Yeah. So, let's see. So I'm gonna just branch my sword, got my shield up, and I think I actually want to try a bit of a different move. I want to use Power of Conviction. So, when I entice someone while extolling the virtues of my devotion and invoking its authority, I roll +spirit instead of +heart. And I want to try and convince these sellswords that this cause is not worth fighting for.
Okay, give us what you're saying.
Okay. So I'm going to take my sword and point it at Dietrich and yell, "Is this man worth fighting for? He's destroying so much good in this world. This could be your home, and instead you're tearing it apart."
Okay. Make your roll.
Roll. 5 on the dice, +1 spirits, 6.
You step forward and you call out confidently and you brandish your sword, and many of them seem almost willing to back down. But Dane, have you come to your decision yet?
Yes.
Are you going to press the attack?
Yes.
That is when the explosion happens. Dane, mark an experience point.
Woo!
And I would like everyone present to stagger.
If I may. I should have probably had this sooner, but I do have a move called Heat of the Moment. To which, when I taunt someone into doing something they want to do but find unwise, I should have rolled +daring. though it was as part of a stagger.
Yes, well, you did spend a string.
I did.
So that is a separate move all to itself.
Ah, I see.
Does Kate also mark an experience for rolling the 6 in the first place?
Yes, my apologies. I forgot to mention that. Mark that experience, Kayla. And there's a big explosion. So who wants to resolve their stagger first? What do you got?
I am absolutely not expecting a big explosion from the middle of the fight, rather than like where the big machines and such are. So I totally like twist to see what's going on over there and lose my footing on top of the big mining machine that I'm on top of, and I fall to the ground. Definitely giving them an opportunity to maybe regroup from my suppression, or otherwise take advantage of my stumble.
Sounds good. Who's next? Don't jump all at once.
I'll go next. I am going to grin and bear the blow, which is going to give me 2 conditions. So now I am clearly angry. This is not going how I expected. And Kayla's starting to get frightened as well.
Yeah, you dig your heels in and you crouch behind your shield as the explosion burns things away all around you. But you're still standing. And there are many others who aren't. Dane, what you got?
Having been at ground zero, I tumble back a bit and hit a stray rock with a very loud thud. And using the aid of like my greatsword, I stand back up, though looking kind of exhausted after that hit like explosion. I am still ready to keep on going. This ain't done till I say it is.
So, what effect is that from the list? Yeah, how many conditions do you have currently?
Ooh, I have 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So is that you granting the opposition an opportunity?
It sounds like it is like an opportunity to like keep this going, I guess. So
Okay, I will take advantage of these opportunities shortly.
yeah.
Dietrich.
Being on the other end of the epicenter of this blast, I have activated my thrusters to have an immediate retreat in the opposite direction. Though my suit is fireproof, the thruster port might not have been able to fully close since I had initially approached, and there may be some interior damage, and the legs of the suit are skidding on the ground a bit more than they should. And so I'm a bit less graceful and much more tumbling in my retreat. Similarly to everyone else here, granting a bit of an opportunity as I am pulling myself to my feet.
Okay, we've got a lot of opportunities happening here. My first question, Verdant, how big are you?
I mean, I really feel like that's not an appropriate question you should be asking a lady. But My enhanced form is about 15 or so feet tall. Definitely.
The mechs are much bigger than your power suits are. Your power suits are basically you wearing like spandex and a few robot parts for accessories. Whereas the 20-foot tall monster suits are the ones that aren't powered by magical energy and are therefore vastly inferior to your tiny little stylish ones.
Okay. Verdant is I'm like 5'4" in my 5-inch platforms. Almost.
Okay, yeah, I pictured Verdant being kind of small.
Yeah, I'm very short. And fluffy.
Okay, I feel like the opportunity being seized here is you being the smallest member of the team. You have been grabbed by these dozens of folks who are waiting for this opportunity, and they're trying to drag you back towards one of their escape pods. Now, the next opportunity is we're going to handle Dietrich's. Dietrich is losing control of his systems. He is wobbly, but he is directly in your line of sight, Kayla. You can move and strike him down, maybe. This is a big opening.
Oh, hell yeah. Then, yeah, I'm just gonna... Like, is he up in the air? Is he just running?
No. He's standing.
He's standing.
And trying to fly, and his boosters aren't working, and
okay.
his leg joints aren't in it.
Okay.
This would actually be... I know we said we were using the fancy moves for PvP combat, but this is an opening you have here. You can use a move unopposed.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm just gonna charge up and stick him with the pointy end of my sword.
Now, are you charging up? Are you flying? Are you how what's give us some more detail on this. Make this fun.
Okay. So I'm going to throw my shield to the side to get as much momentum as possible. Take my sword in both hands and activate the boosters on my boots and fly into him with my sword.
Okay. What sort of attack is this?
That would just be a... Let me get my...
It sounds like it could be just a basic lunge.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Which is a bold and confident attack with the intent to defeat someone.
Yep. Yeah, it's just a lunge. Alright, so it's plus daring. Four on the dice, plus 2, 6. They're not liking me today.
So... You fly in, sword raised, ready to strike the decisive blow. When you are tackled from the side,
Damn it.
you crash through several trees. And as you look up, Sadie, please describe yourself.
Yes. So Sadie is dressed in a piecemeal suit of Marauder armor made up of sort of a mix of leather, metal, synthetic pieces. It's very piecemeal. She also has a fancy-looking pair of goggles that look like they have a heads-up display included, but they seem very big on her. She has a big black sword as well.
What sort of sword?
It's just a big black sword that she found in a cave. It's convenient to use for now.
Is it like a German two-hander? Is it a claymore? Is it just a piece of metal that you wrapped a leather handle around?
It's Probably like a bastard sword.
Okay. Now, let's take a few minutes to talk about Sadie. Sadie,
Yes, sir.
let's talk about your playbook. What are you?
I am the beast.
Okay, and what's the beast about?
Following their truth, their passions, the conflicts against our civilized society, and sort of making their own path.
And what do you do to make your own path? What do you? What's your profession? What do you do with your life?
Bounty hunter for now.
Okay, seeing as you're a bounty hunter, I'm assuming that you're working for the Sputnik Corporation.
I mean, you got to pay the bills, got to eat. So they seemed okay to me. They came up with a pretty good offer.
Well, a pretty good offer isn't bad.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a second to pull up your playbook so I can just go over some things with you. So, for your aesthetic, what sort of aesthetic do you have?
They kind of look like as I said, they kind of have look kind of like a piecemeal kind of marauder, sort of like a wild sort of person.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And that, actually, your description was good enough where you hit all of the things in the aesthetic list pretty good.
Yeah.
And your starting stats, what do you got?
I went with, so including the additional +2, I have 2 daring, 0 grace, 2 heart, -1 wit, and 0 spirit.
Okay. So, I'm sorry, that was 2 daring and...
2 daring, 0 grace, 2 heart.
Okay.
-1 wit, and not very spiritual either.
Awesome. Well, you got something going on. You're a big enough bruiser to tackle somebody in full powered plate. So I feel like you're rough and tumble, and it's pretty crazy you're able to stand toe to toe with these monstrous people in your natural form. That's just awesome. So one important part of the Beast playbook is the feral score. So with the feral score, how does that work?
Well, basically, when you sort of do things that are sort of out of line with the social norms and order of civilized society, and kind of become more feral, become more like your bestial self. And when you try to fit in or feel some sort of shame or discomfort about how your behavior potentially is hurting others or making you stand out, it decreases typically.
Okay. And what playbook moves do you have?
Well, aside from the transform, I went with Big Dyke Energy and Tracker.
Okay, and what do those do?
Well, with Big Dyke Energy, you can, whenever you make it very clear to your foes that you're the biggest threat for the rest of the scene, whenever you roll a 10+, you may choose someone present to be impressed or intrigued by you. And once during the scene, when you gain a string on someone, you can gain an additional string on someone else who considers you an enemy. As for the Tracker, I think it went pretty well with the bounty hunter theme, which is why I went with that one. So when you investigate a person's living space, camp, or trail, or an object important to them, you can roll with heart instead of wit to figure them out, and may do so even when they're not present. And you can also ask the question, where did they go? Because you're tracking them down. So on a 7 or a 9, they take a string on you instead of asking a question back.
Very good. So, every playbook has some questions to answer at the beginning of the game. with those questions, let me find that list. Oh, I thought I had it right in front of me. Here we go. Now, unfortunately, because you joined in late, other people's relationships aren't going to necessarily involve you, but I think that can kind of work.
Yeah.
Since you're a bounty hunter looking for everybody else, I suggested you have strings on other people, very specifically to represent that you have a dossier filled with their information. You have been assigned to hunt these people.
Indeed.
So, while your strings aren't necessarily them, you having any pull over them, those strings are you having foreknowledge of them.
That makes sense.
But we've got some questions here for you to answer about the other player characters. The first question is, who reminds you the most of a beast?
I think it would have been more helpful if I was here that first session, honestly.
Well, you can say it about how people's fighting styles have happened, who's done what so far in the game.
I mean, I guess Kayla, she seemed pretty straightforward in her assault, right?
Yeah. That's not a bad way to look at things.
Hunting someone down.
So the next question is, who reminds you the most of Prey?
Oh, probably Verdant. She's small and they just grabbed her, so.
Yeah. I definitely can see how you'd think that. And then the next is, who has seen you at your most bestial?
So far, I mean, I don't know if I've really met up with most of these people so far.
You definitely have met up with Dietrich. Dietrich is your employer. He is the one who's hired you to come in and deal with this, because you're a useful tool who's done work for him before. You have also... Oh, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
Oh, I wanted to make sure you had the chance to talk.
Oh, yeah.
The other person who you likely know, and you don't necessarily have to be chummy with them, but Dane has also a former ex-Sputnik employee. Former ex-Sputnik doesn't... Dane used to work for Sputnik. So he is... I'm sorry. So they are somebody you've probably worked alongside in the past. That's why you have two strings on Dane, is because you know a little bit more about Dane than the others. Now we have to figure out who you have strings on. I'm sorry, who has strings on you? Words are hard.
Well, I guess both Dane and Dietrich would have a couple strings on me each.
Sounds good. How many?
2 each. I guess we got that.
And what about the others?
I don't really know them yet.
No, but you could say, I mean, and you don't have to, but you saw Kayla just charge in to kill somebody after an explosion like that. That might have earned your respect a little, and you might have a string on her. Or she might have a string on you.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan to me.
And then Verdant, I don't know, you probably don't think a whole lot of Verdant, or am I wrong?
I mean, I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Okay, so now that that's done, we're going to continue in 2 minutes. I will be right back. While everyone else was taking their break, I figured out I have to take a break real quick too. BRB.
It's because I'm short, isn't it?
You know how it is.
Yep.
I'm sure you can prove yourself in other ways. It's a good picture. I feel like this is an interesting format. Yeah. It's definitely a bit different, though, I will say.
A lot more to it than Monster Hearts.
Yeah.
The set conditions thing is a bit. Most of the other Power of the Apocalypse games, aside from Monster Hearts, have set conditions. The way that this game does.
Yeah.
Where you take a static penalty to rolls based on which conditions you have marked.
Sometimes with Monster Hearts, like giving people conditions can just be so stressful on the spot because it's like, how do I come up with something?
It's intimidating.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back and ready to go.
Oh my goodness.
Welcome back.
All right.
Now, as a reminder, there are many moves that you can perform in combat. Not just the basic moves of fighting and defying disaster. Entice and figure someone out are also fully usable in melee combat. So if what you're doing is trying to put the other person down, that's when we'd roll something like fight. If you're trying to use your swordplay to change their opinions or lure them into something or determine parts of who they are, then there are other skills you can use for that too. But for the moment, we still need to deal with Dane's opportunity. Am I wrong? Did we not get to that yet?
Not yet.
Okay. So Dane. Dane.
We also didn't figure out the maneuvers he was using against Dietrich. They were using against Dietrich.
Well, that was Kayla.
Yes, Kayla had a free attack because of the opportunity presented.
Dane was supposed to pick 3 maneuvers, or 2 maneuvers to use against Dietrich because of how high they got.
Oh, and he didn't yet?
Roll. No, they did not.
Okay,
right.
let's deal with that right now. What do you got?
I'm going to pick a. I'll describe it as a lunge.
No.
No.
We're looking at the maneuvers.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Yes. Maneuvers. Let me pull up that image. How does it provoke your opponent to gain a strength? Ooh. Okay. I'm going to do the top one and the third one. Seeing as Kayla has closed in on Dietrich and Dietrich is about to get away, I am going to entice Dietrich to... to provoke Dietrich to stay and finish this, because we are both right messed up right now.
So in doing so, you get a string on Dietrich.
Ooh, I now have 4 strings on Dietrich. I'm going to. Okay.
When you get, you can spend one immediately if you like, but when you get 4 strings on someone, you get a string advance. And what a string advance does is they tell you a secret about themselves, and you gain 2 additional experience points and reset to 1 string.
Oh, that would bring me so close to leveling up. Oh my goodness, that's so enticing. You know what? We're gonna go with option 2. I want to know a secret, and I want all that good experience. Bring it to me. Come on.
So, Dietrich, what sort of secret would Dane figure out from this exchange?
That, for all of the venom and vitriol that I've been spitting out this whole time, there's kind of a remorseful tone to it, the more that it rings around in their head. That there's something other than just disgust or anger. Something a bit more significant. More personal.
Okay.
Specifically about Dane.
About Dane?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, okay. Not... Mm-hmm.
Now, for creating the opportunity, I feel like maybe your last blow and the explosion and everything has made it so that the thrusters don't work, so you can't fly out of here. Does that feel like what you're going for?
Yes.
And how does that sound to you, Dietrich?
That sounds like a valid combat maneuver for a soldier.
But is it valid in the story we're telling?
Yeah,
Does that make
yeah, sure, yeah.
Okay, so now that we've handled those,
resolve that opportunity.
you're standing up
Mm-hmm.
from being blasted and launched prone, and you look around and you don't know where Kayla is. Sadie, you have the drop on Dane, if you would like to press that advantage.
All right.
You can also continue playing with Kayla. That's entirely up to you.
I mean, I guess it would be... Well, the boss seems to have Dane pretty handled. For now. Guess we'll take care of this one. That's what I'm supposed to do, right?
And what are you going to do?
Well, I guess I'll try to... take her down, and then we can, get one less thing to worry about, and that means I'll probably get a reward too. So that'll be good. So I'm gonna try to bonk her with my sword.
Okay, and this is a combat bonk, not a flirty bonk.
Yeah, though she seems okay though, but at least for now, I guess.
Okay,
Yeah.
Each of you, please pick a combat maneuver.
All right.
Message it to me in secret.
Let's see.
Now, for listeners at home, the reason I'm having them message it to me in secret is so that we know ahead of time that nobody is just removes the incentive and ability for things to for any hurt feelings, we'll say.
We totally. Let's see. Would have been helpful if I had that page up. That's.
I mean, yeah.
Would have been.
So, while you are looking at that page and trying to make your decisions, I'm going to keep the action flowing. Verdant, you are being dragged into one of the drop pods.
Oh no, how terrible. Help. Help. Uh, while this is very much an unexpected situation, I am more interested in going along with it than the enemy would hope that I am.
So they're loading you in, and you're like, "Yay! I'm going to the moon." Whoever's typing, can you mute yourself while you're doing that?
That's my bad.
Oh, no worries.
More like, I feel like I can do more damage to them from their base than out here in the jungle. So, like, totally, please stop taking me away.
Yeah, roll to entice if you would.
I have the talk nerdy to me move, which allows me to use wits instead of heart to entice. So I'm going to use that.
How are you going to do that? Explain to me how that looks.
I am
How
outsmarting
that
them
sounds.
into thinking that I'm like harmless, and thus they'll give me more freedom than they would otherwise give someone they're taking prisoner.
Okay, so you're like struggling particularly feebly, like there's no way you could hurt any of these big scary men.
Right. And like as soon as they grab me, all of my magic like disappeared, as if I can't contain it. I can't keep going with it while I'm bound up and that kind of thing.
Yeah, that sounds great. Make your roll.
Uh, 5 on the dice plus 2 wits is a 7.
Okay. So, I'm going to give you a string on Sputnik goons. Now, since these are just the random goons of the Sputnik Corporation, any strings attached to them will be good across the entirety of the organization. So, whether it's these goons here or other goons later, you've got that bonus. And the rocket begins to fly up. So, back to the combat between the feral lady and the knight.
Who you calling, feller? Come on.
Kayla, please describe to me your attack.
So right now, I'm just lying prone on the ground. And I was going to do feint. So I'm going to wait for Sadie to get closer, then try and grab her and headbutt her.
And Sadie.
Sadie tries to use the scrap action. She drips up on her motorcycle, holding the steering column in one hand and lashing out with her big black sword as she yells out at Kayla.
Okay. Kayla, you weren't expecting her to be quite this quick and direct. Please, both of you make your rolls.
I rolled an 8, and I have a +2 to my heart, so that gives me a 10.
Okay. So, take a string on someone present.
Well, the boss is really impressed with me.
It's a good way to do it.
He thinks I look real cool because, you know, I'm a great bounty hunter. So I get a string on Diedrich for being impressive.
Mark a condition.
All right. I will go with I guess the one that makes the most sense in this case would be angry.
Okay, you're getting mad.
Yeah.
And then you pick two choices off the maneuvers chart.
The maneuvers chart, huh?
Yep.
Is that nearby?
Flirt. That's at the top of that. Flirt with or provoke your opponent and gain a string on them. Through violence or cutting words, inflict a condition. Create an opportunity for an ally through prowess or distraction. Take an object from an opponent or seize a superior position.
What does seize a superior position mean?
Whatever you think it means.
I really should have read this more.
No,
thoroughly.
I mean,
I apologize.
no. Don't worry about it. It's a very vague term on purpose. It can be used to justify a lot, and that's intentional. So, seizing a superior position could mean that you gain the upper ground, but it could also mean that you've convinced them of the error of their ways, or it could mean that you've gotten past their defenses and are looming towards the target they're trying to defend. So, while you're thinking about that, you ready?
I think so. It says take an object for them. What is that? Like, I don't. Am I
You
stealing
take
their
an
stuff?
object from them, yeah, whatever you want.
I don't know what they have.
Like, while you're thinking about that, I'm going to have Kayla roll her attack.
Okay. Rolling. Six plus 3 is 9, plus 1 wit, 10.
Ooh, 10. With 10, you inflict a condition and choose one maneuver.
Okay. Condition. I think I'll condition insecure. Would make sense to inflict. Clearly, I don't think they would have been expecting me to fight back quite that much. I have to look at the maneuvers.
So it says because if you faint and your opponent scraps.
We're going to get to that after the exchange.
Cool.
Do you have your maneuvers yet, Sadie?
Yeah, I can go with that. I'm gonna.
Okay.
I provoke them, gaining a string on them. I want them to
Okay.
pay attention to me so I can fight them. And
Sounds
then I'm
good.
also going to, through my violence and superior battle prowess, I'm going to inflict the condition of frightened on them.
Okay. Are you already frightened, Kayla?
I'm already frightened. Yeah, I was about to just say that.
All right. Well, let's see.
I'm already frightened and angry, if that's helpful.
Well, I guess we can both be insecure then together.
Okay.
Okay. And what was your maneuver, Kayla?
I was going to take an object from the opponent and seize Sadie's sword.
Okay. So the way I kind of see this going down, and feel free to talk about this, change this, but I kind of see like Sadie coming in for the big lunge, and and Kayla reaches up and like pulls her in for the headbutt. And Sadie kind of drops her sword, but like slams Kayla back into the ground. And like an up close personal brawl is breaking out. Now, Since we are looking at scrap versus faint, Kayla, you stagger.
Darn.
What exactly does stagger do in this?
So stagger is when you've been dealt a serious physical or emotional blow, bad things happen. And this is how you kind of handle that.
So it says that it says they make you stagger or they choose one more maneuver.
Would you prefer a maneuver?
I think it would be funnier if, since they took my sword, I also take their sword.
I think that's a perfect way to do things. So the two of you are in hand-to-hand combat, locked in grappling. Your swords are out of reach. You're having, I would call it a cat fight, but we know you're not a cat. I think this would also be a great time to up your feral by 1.
I am feeling pretty feral.
I mean, you're rolling around in the dirt with another woman in the woods.
Yeah, this is what living's all about.
Okay, so Dane, Dietrich. You're both wobbly and not doing so great.
Yep.
The two girls are off into the woods and Verdant. Everything okay, Sorrel? Okay, cool. Make sure it's recording still. Welcome back, Sorrel. Okay, are we still recording?
Good to be here. Sorry for that. I've lost Dane, though.
Oh no. I will fix.
Do battles on the moon.
Looks like everything's good to go.
Technical difficulty. Stream without at least 2.
Okay, I'm not listening to the audio.
Mountain Sea Blast, funded by Sputnik Corporation.
Oh, got to get that Mountain Sea. I'm having a Mountain Sea Blast once I finish this fight. Are you kidding me?
Oh, heck yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've earned one today. I've got my exercise in, so I'm good.
Mountain Sea Blast. Mountains on the moon.
Twitch, because
I'm getting a network.
and then restart the stream.
My Streamlabs is still...
Think that
I mean, at least I had to do that, it does.